Hello Math 1 class. Today we are going to learn how to do few problems from section 2.4 MVP curriculum, linear and exponential function. And for 2.4 we have a first question in ready section. The first and fifth terms of the sequence are given. Fill in the missing numbers if it is arithmetic, and then fill the numbers if it is geometric. So you have to figure out which one, based on which sequence is it, supposed to enter the number. So let's start with the first one. Like they have given an example, if it is an arithmetic and the first term is 4 and the end term is 324, so it's, if it is an arithmetic, something has to be added each time, so that is 80. That something common difference you have to figure out. Same way, if it is a geometric, first term is 4, last term is 324, so you have to figure out what is the number you need to multiply every time to get the next number. So it's about finding the common difference. So we are going to do the same thing here. So our question number 1 is arithmetic sequence 3 and 48. 3 is the first term, so what I can do, I can simply write down first, second, third, fourth and fifth. This way it will be easier. So I have 5 terms given, and if suppose it's about arithmetic, and how can I simply write down the missing terms? For that I need my D, common difference. And how can I do that? For that I told you that basically you take the distance between the values of the term and then the number of term it is. So basically from here you can see the gap between 48 and 33. 48 minus 3, and that will help you to find D, common difference, and then the distance between this 5 and 1. So that's 5 minus 1, and that is what? 48 minus 3 is 45 over 4, and when you do it you get 11.25. That's D. Means every time it is supposed to increase by 11.25. So if I add 11.25 to 3, that's my common difference, so I would be getting 14.25. Now again I need to add 11.25, so I'm just now erasing this part so that I can show you how I'm getting it. So if I added 11.25, I'm getting this. Again I'm adding 11.25, again 11.25, 11.25, and what are we doing? I'm adding, so I have to put the sign also. So when I keep on doing, my next number is 25.5, then 36.75, and you keep on doing and you finally get 48. So it means it's correct. So this is the way how you do for arithmetic. Let's go for the geometric. If it is a geometric, then I know I told you basically if there is a common ratio r, so next number should be, this should be, if you multiply, that is supposed to be 3r, 3r square, and so on, 3r cubed, and this is supposed to be 3r to the power 4 is equal to 48. So what I'm going to do, I need to find my r. So for this one, let me erase this part so that I can rewrite my values. So I know I have an equation that's 3r to the power 4, that is 48. That will help me to get my r. So I divide both sides by 3, r to the power 4 is 16. And fourth power of r, that I have to figure out what it could be. For that one, I get it, this thing, that it's going to be, this could be broken as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, and that's going to be r is plus minus 2. So my common ratio, I get 2 common ratios. In this case it could be plus 2 or minus 2, up to you. So here I can check which one is going to work in this case. So if, let's check with the plus one. If it is r is plus 2, how does the sequence builds up? So if r is 2, so let me write it here. If r is 2 plus 2, so it's going to be, I multiply by 2, that's 6, again multiply by 2, that's 12, and then 24, and then 48. So we need to check whether minus 2 will also work. So it will alternate the sign. So if it is minus 2, then it's going to be, your values are going to be minus 6. If I multiply by r is negative 2, that's going to be minus 6. Then again that's 12. Then it will be alternative sign, so like this, and you can get your answer. I hope you get it. So let's move to the next question. So for this one, write the explicit equation. So where I'm doing, first I'm trying question number 12. Writing explicit equation for linear and exponential models. So write the explicit equation for the table and graphs below. So you will see graphs also on the next page. This is something you really need to know, preserve, and do all you can to figure out them out. Remember the tools we have used. Alright, so what we need to do, we need to figure out what could be the equation for this. So very first thing, you need to identify actually what kind of pattern is that. So I see negative 4 here, negative 11, negative 18, negative 25. I see the values are kind of getting smaller, and is there a constant difference every time? Yes, I do see it's getting down by negative 7. Alright, so one thing I know, it's an arithmetic, and for arithmetic I know that how do I write the arithmetic equation for, we already know that it's basically f of n is f1 plus d times n minus 1, and d is actually negative 7. So I just write down f of n is equal to, first term is what? Negative 4 is the first term. D is what? Negative 7 and n minus 1. But because we keep on using n representation, but here they are using x, so I would be using the proper representation. I would be saying f of x is negative 4 minus 7 times x minus 1, just to use the representation they gave us. Alright, let's move to another problem here. I will do question number 14 for you. If I look at it, that says that my sequence is starting from second term, third term, fourth and fifth. The second term is negative 24, third is negative 48, then negative 96 and negative 192. So when I see every time feels like it's doubling, it's multiplied by 2. So one thing for sure, when it's multiplied, so it's going to be geometric. And I need to write my explicit equation in this case, because keep in mind it's about explicit equation. And for explicit equation, we knew it's something, f of n is f of 1 and then r to the power, it's sometimes n minus 1, sometimes it's n or anything. Like, you need to check based on the values given. You have to figure out what it could be. So one thing for sure, I know my r is, this is my r, that's 2. First term is negative 24. At least I can start writing that. F of n is equal to negative 24 and r is 2. Only the thing now I have to think, what should I write on top? Should be n or n minus 1. So we can plug in, if I'm taking n minus 1 and I plug in 2 over there, so 2 minus 1 is 1. So that's going to be 2 times negative 24. You see that if I just do, it's n minus 1 and I try to figure out that if I plug in n is 2, so that's 2 minus 1 is 1, so negative 48. So it's not negative 48, it's supposed to be negative 24. So it's not going to work. So I have to remove this possibility. Then I have to think about, can n be worked here? If I am having n, so if the n is 2, so 2 times 2 to the power 2 is 4. So again it's going to get very bigger. Actually the second term supposed to be negative 24, so I don't want this term. It's supposed to be 1. So for second term I need to put n minus 2. So it's a lot of thinking what it should be. So the formula in this case, because the term is not starting with 2, not starting with 1. whatever the number of term it's starting, it is that minus 2. Okay, so like here you can n minus 2, you can say that's your equation. Okay, explicit equation. But keep in mind we are using x here, so I just change my notation. So I get f of x is negative 24 times 2 to the power x minus 2. So you use this one, all right, because in our book we are just using n every time. So now you change the representation. Let's move to the next question. Next question is here, like it's the same question. Instead of table, we are being given the graph. How can we do that? For this one, we look at the first problem. It's a straight line. So straight line means it's going to be arithmetic. We are learning about arithmetic and geometric, that thing. So it's arithmetic right now. Arithmetic, whenever you look at the graph, you need to see, it's just like there could be different ways. Either you read the points, or a quicker way to see where it is intersecting your y-axis, that's intersecting. And keep in mind here all boxes are 1 unit, so that's what 0 2. So y-intercept is 2 here in this case. And what's the slope for this one? It's rise over run. So we can think from leftmost point to rightmost point, how can I walk? I have to go down by negative 2, and then I have to run right by 6. So our slope is rise over run, and that's what, negative 2 over 6, that's negative 1 over 3. And that's our y-intercept, where it touches the y-axis. So y equal to mx plus b. So that's one other thing. I will show you how to do it with table. Y equal to negative 1 over 3x plus 2. That's the equation. But because you're doing the arithmetic sequence, you just know how to do the table stuff. So I can show you that way also. That's your x and that's your y. So my first point here, I can read this point, that's 0 2. And then I can read this point, that's going to be 3 1. And this one, that's 6 0. All right. So what do I see with this value? What I can do, I can always figure out, like the way you see the table in first question, how you got the d. D will be basically you take the difference of this and this, distance between 6 minus 0 over, you do 0 minus 2, this and this, distance between the endpoints of x and y. All right. So for this one, when we do that, here, oh, I switched it, so let me fix that here. Yeah, distance, so y's distance goes on top, so it's going to be 0 minus 2 over 6 minus 0. And that's what, negative 2 over 6 is negative 1 over 3. So that's a common difference. Once you get the common difference, then we remember the way we used to do the problem. We used to write that it was explicit equation was f of n is f of 1 plus d times n minus 1. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to replace it. I'm going to write f of n. First term is what? 2. And d is what? Negative 1/3 n minus 1. But because we are supposed to do here, up to you, you can use this representation, or you can finally write f of x is 2 times minus 1 over 3 x minus 1 is the same. So this is same, this is same. These are the different ways how you can write it. All right, let me go over. I'm going to move to question number 17 now. For 17, I have to write, like it looks like this is an exponential. I have to figure out how it could be exponential. I need to get the so it looks like it's a geometric kind of, or it's an exponential thing. So I have to figure out how to write the equation. So arithmetic here, it's yeah, it's linear because we were seeing line. So for this one, 17th, again, if it is hard, go ahead and create a table. So it's x and y here. I will get few points which I can correctly read it. Okay, it's not something which you just guess. I see, I can guess, I read this point, I can read this point. Alright, so these 2 points are enough to guess. So I could say this point is 0, 1, and this is 1 and 4. So I just write it 0, 1 and 1 and 4. So it's very visible that as we progress, how can I get the second term? I'm just getting it by multiplying by 4. I can use this thing, so that's my common ratio. So how do I write my equation that you remember f of n is f of 1, and here r to the power, you need to think about is going to be n or is going to be n minus 1, whatever. So you need to judge. So f of n is equal to, first term is 1 and r is 4 and first term is 1. So here it is supposed to be like, if I just try n, if I plug in n equal to 0, this 0 here, so 4 to the power 0 is 1 and 1 times 1 is 1. So it means in this case this one is working. So other, you can check n minus 1, well, will that work? No, that is not going to work. So you need to always keep on figuring out which one it's going to be working over here. And other way is to simply think, if your sequence is starting with x value as 0, so this exponent is always n minus 0, that's going to be n. If the sequence is starting with second position, then it's going to be n minus 2 most likely, and then you can then accordingly figure out which one is. Still make sure you check it which one is fitting into the scenario. So in this case, our final equation, because I'm using x and y here, is the x is that notation. So f of x is 1 times something we don't write, 4 to the power x. That's the equation. I hope you get it. Let me know if you still have any question. Thank you.